Hello everybody, it's Aaron back from Screenstars, and I'm here once again to do another review for Geek Legion of Doom. And today I'm here to review the 2018 Western horror West of Hell, a film that stars Tony Todd, Michael Eklund and Lance Henriksen. And this is a film that focuses on essentially a train. Now, will this be a terrifying train ride to hell, or more like Thomas the Tank Engine? Well, let's have a look at this together. What's this film all about? Well, it is a film that focuses on a number of characters who all meet up on this train. And you've got Tony Todd's character, who is there for his own specific reason that's connected to his slavery past and the redemption he feels he needs to do to find those that were responsible for his family's death. You've got a young girl, well, not a young girl, young lady, Annie, I believe she's called, who has her own personal mercenary that's escorting her home, and the mercenary is played by Michael Eklund. And you've got a number of other people on this train. You've got a priest, you've got a woman with a slave on the train, and the gist of it is they're all there because in some way they have sinned pretty badly. But initially, Tony Todd is basically in that train to try and seek out and kill the daughter of the plantation guy that was responsible for the death of his family, and he's been going around for years scalping and killing slave traders. So that he's made that his mission, and he's on this train to do one final kill, but he's got to get past this mercenary. So this is almost like a film of two halves, this film West of Hell. And the first half of this film is this cat and mouse game between Tony Todd and Michael Eklund, who's the mercenary, and they're trying to outdo each other so that Tony Todd can kill this plantation guy's daughter, Annie, and this mercenary won't let that happen because he's going to get paid handsomely if he gets her to her destination. So you've got this cat and mouse thing going on, so the other passengers get involved in it, and then about halfway through it turns into full-on horror, this, and it turns out that the train they're on is basically a hell train. And they are all in their own way tempted in some way by Satan, by the devil. They're all there to make a deal, perhaps. And they're all there basically because they're not very nice people in their own way, which you learn as the movie goes on through flashbacks or just by them saying what they've done. And then by the very end, they've all got to try and, make some kind of deal with the devil himself. So what do I think of this film? Well, like I said, this is almost like a film of two halves. The first half of the film I wasn't overly impressed with. It was kind of weirdly edited in a sense of the action scenes, the shooting scenes between Tony Todd and the mercenary guy. They were poorly edited together, so you couldn't make out what was happening particularly well, and it was almost too enclosed. But the second half of the film, when it moved into the horror territory, worked far better for me, and there were some pretty disturbing and gruesome scenes. There was a particularly gruesome coffin scene, which I won't spoil, but I thought that was really quite effective. It was quite brave in how it touched the subject of slavery. It was quite prominent in how it dealt with that, I thought, and didn't really pull any punches, so I thought that was done particularly well, and there's a couple of horrific scenes in regards to that. So I thought it was a fairly poor setup, but when it got going, this film, and the horror elements picked up, it really did pick up pace. It reminded me as well a lot of this movie, two movies. If you remember that film Devil from a few years ago, I think M. Night Shyamalan wrote it. Where they're all in that lift and the devil's there, and they're all in that lift for a similar reason. They've all got sins or something to confess, whatever. It was almost like a cross between that and the Quentin Tarantino film, The Hateful Eight. Only because of the western setting, but I also think this film, because it's all on a train, it's all in like a couple of carriages on a train, there's very few external scenes filmed. This would have worked very well as a stage play. and I said that at the time when I watched Hateful Eight. I thought Hateful Eight would have been a brilliant stage play. I think, was it? It might have been a stage play. I'm not so sure, but that would have worked great as a stage play. And this one would have done as well, because it's just a few characters. They're all in a couple of carriages on this train. It's very enclosed, and it's primarily a character piece, and that's when this film works. When they move into the action territory, and you know they're trying to do the shooting bits, because it's so enclosed, it doesn't work well, and it's not been edited well enough to make it work. So it's been oddly edited, a poor setup, but when the horror elements kick in, I thought it was far more effective. So for me, a film of two halves. The first half of the film I wasn't overly keen on. The second half of the film I enjoyed far better, and it was pretty impressive and pretty terrifying. Not terrifying, pretty gruesome. Some pretty gruesome scenes, I would say, in the second half of the film. And I thought everybody did well. It's really nice to see genre veterans like Tony Todd and Lance Henriksen, even Michael Eklund, who you'll recognise from a lot of films, doing what they do best. The Lance Henriksen part, I won't ruin it for you, but he's not in it a great deal, but he is effective when he does turn up. I thought Tony Todd actually was very good. I've seen him in a few films over the last few years, and I wasn't overly impressed. It almost felt like he was phoning in his performances. I thought he did a decent job in this film. I thought his performance was fine, and I thought everybody's performance was fine. I did believe them. So for me, guys, I'm going to give this film a 6 out of 10. It would have scored higher if that first half had have made more sense and had been edited together a bit better. But yeah, it's a bit different. A Western horror, guys, and yeah, I do recommend it if you want to watch something like this, if this is your sort of horror film. So yes, thank you very much for watching, everybody.